Right, hello guys. Welcome to Premier League Game Week Review 30 now. God, we've been doing this all season. United is still stressing us out. How are you, Thomas?
I'm doing well, yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well, except for liking football in the first place and then supporting
Yeah.
Manchester United. Being from Manchester, supporting Manchester United. I'm not doing well with that. Um, right, we'll get into the results. So to add insult to injury, obviously with our results, it has been an interesting game week to say the least. We watched Liverpool 2, Watford 0. And they just dominated. And I'm sat there watching it thinking, these lot took five points off us, 4 points off us. Like, wow. Do you know what I mean? We are real bad.
Mm.
I'm normally very positive, as people know, but I've not really got much to be positive about right now. Jota, right. I'm going to ask you a question about Jota. I've seen some Scousers and a few other people as well, not just Scousers, saying saying that Jota is masking 3 out of 10 performances with goals and assists. But can you hear me? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Okay. No, because your screen just
yeah.
went completely. Your screen just went blank. Um,
Oh, fine.
Jota, with people are saying, yeah, he's masking his goals, he's masking his performances with goals and assists. But when you're that good, when you've got that many good players in your team, you've got Alisson, you've got Van Dijk, you've got Trent, you've got Robertson, you've got Jota, you've got Firmino, you've got Mane, you've got Salah, etc. I feel like you can have a player that does that for £40 million about him for. I feel like that's a bargain. What do you reckon?
Yeah, especially with a club like Liverpool and how everyone knows in world football that they are one of the best at the moment. No matter who they play against, they seem to just dominate. They're such a good team, Liverpool. With players like Jota, I think they definitely can't afford to carry about one or even two below par performances. And I think the main his Jota's main job really is supposed to be scoring goals and getting assists, and he's doing that on a fairly annoyingly to the least but consistent basis. And I don't think people should be criticizing his performances to the level they are if he's um if he's showing up like he's giving the numbers and that. Like if let's say Ronaldo in our case was given 2 out of 10 performances every week and he scored a goal or two every week, we wouldn't be complaining. But I think in the case of Liverpool, I think they can afford to have a below par performance for a midfielder and a below
Yeah,
par performance from like a left back, let's say. They can
yeah.
afford it because they have such great players in form as well around them. So I don't think it's a big problem for Liverpool. But Jota is annoyingly, like I said, and you obviously you're not a big fan of him, you hate him as well. But
Yeah.
I mean, like
Um,
he scores goals, he makes assists, so that's all you can really ask from him. So
I agree. Um, On to United. I feel like just ranting again. I had a rant yesterday. These players, man. Right, I'm going to compare it to something that happened 13 years ago today. Kiko Makeda scored that goal against Villa. That goal that practically won us the title. Kiko Makeda was far, far from the best player, and obviously he's still playing, and he's far from the best player right now. But he
yeah,
put his all into performances. He did. We've got players, including players that I love, put half-assing performances, half-hearted. Um, do you really care? Um, and I've seen a clip of someone who I don't like on the internet who is speaking sense, in my opinion, for a rare time speaking sense, and he has said, like, these players, you can accept the boy that cried wolf once, twice, 3 times, maybe even 4 times. You can accept these bad performances, and they're saying, "Oh, we're injured, we're tired, the system isn't right, we don't trust this manager." But when it's happening every few weeks, it's like, how can you keep saying this? Like,
yeah,
what is wrong with this core of players, this group of players? and players that we both love, that we both like. You've got Luke Shaw, you've got Rashford, you've got Pogba, you've got who else? McTominay, awful the other day. Probably not United quality, as much as it hurts me to say it. Probably not. You've got you've got all sorts of players across the whole squad. It's just like, do you really care? For me, including like obviously, and you as well, you've sat through watching Moyes, Van Gaal, obviously best wishes to Van Gaal as well, just mentioning him obviously as manager, Mourinho, and I know he wasn't too keen on Solskjaer either. And now this is the worst I've ever seen it in Old Trafford. Obviously, people watching it from home as well. Speaking from a person sat in Old Trafford the other day, there was in Old Trafford there was a sort of tiredness, apathy about the atmosphere. I don't know whether it was noticeable on TV. There was a tiredness and there was an apathy of, I'm like fucking sick of you, of all you players. We know what we're gonna get with you players. It is below average. The club, we know what we're gonna get from the club, and it's like total silence. If they make a right decision on Ten Hag, yeah, but I can't ignore how bad it is. I'm positive generally. You know I am. People know I am. This channel will not go in a negative direction at all. But I can't possibly ignore it. I apologise that this is quite a long rant. What do you think?
I agree with everything you said, and I really appreciate that you're so they are so what's the word, unbiased. Like even with your own players, like that you really love, like Scott McTominay and Rashford. And I know we've said we've argued in the past that you've argued they're not good enough and they're not in good form at all, and you've obviously argued that they are that they're playing really well, or not that they're playing really well, but they are good players and they're United standard. But all that goes out of the window when we can both clearly see and agree on the fact that the vast majority, almost all the players, just seem to be just giving up, or they're not good enough either. Or, and it really infuriates me when you compare them to this group of these set of players. I said this to friends recently. And a lot of people have said this, but I stand by this completely. I have never, across all the squads that we've had over the past 10 years, these are probably the most dislikable set of players.
I agree.
And like I said, a lot of people are saying that, but it's I can only name a few, like a handful of players that I like, that are likable, And obviously we can say, if you want to talk about the Leicester game, Fred is the only player that comes out of that game with any sort of, oh, at least he tried,
Yeah.
And we are not that level of football club. If we were Southampton supporters, or I don't know, fucking Brighton supporters, we can go, oh yeah, well they tried their best. That is not good enough. And we're praising Fred and Scott McTominay to a certain extent in the past just for trying. And you need to have way more than that. You have to have that.
That's the bare minimum,
guaranteed.
though. So
Yes, yeah.
I was speaking last night whilst watching the Arsenal game with my uncle, and obviously I mentioned hundreds of conversations with my uncle on these streams, and he was saying, by no means, especially right now, obviously Langer's a young player. By no means is he ability wise better than Marcus Rashford right now, but he tries harder. He works harder.
Yes.
It's the bare minimum, and Elanga. I'm not just having a dig at Elanga here, because I like Elanga. To me, he achieved a almost hero status, kind of, with that Atletico Madrid goal. The way I celebrated it, anyway, it was like one of my most celebrated goals of the season. But the bare minimum is to work hard, and we're not even seeing that from these players. We're not even seeing that. We're like, for me, I've said for ages, for months now, just end this season, and the title is end this season, please. Like regardless of whether Arsenal lost last night, regardless of whether Spurs drop points at weekend, Arsenal drop points, whatever. I can't ignore how bad this season's been, and I will get into the comments in a minute, and obviously people giving their opinion, but I cannot possibly, like, it's almost broken me as a fan. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure everyone feels the same. one of my worst. It's given me my worst memory at Old Trafford this year, this season. Listening to two worst memories. 5-0 down to Liverpool, and I'm listening to Scousers chanting Ollie's at the wheel. They threw Ollie under the bus there. 2-0 down to City, they're chanting Ollie's at the wheel. And Leicester, that atmosphere, it reminded me of when we played Aston Villa at home this season. And I remember the exact it was early on in the season, and I think we lost 1-0. And I had MUFC Red Army from Twitter, Alexi, on, and he's generally quite a positive person as well, and especially positive about United. And he was saying it was a very weird atmosphere that day. It was almost an expectance of how bad we were going to be, and it was exactly the same I felt the other day. And I'm hearing people, someone who is a very, very passionate fan online, and he has gone to the games for over 30 years, Andy Tate. I'm hearing him say he doesn't want to go to he doesn't want to go to the United games anymore. I'm hearing my uncle. My uncle was a steward at United before he had a season ticket, and obviously supported United since he was born, 1979. I'm hearing him say, if we get Europa Conference League, we're not paying for the tickets for the Europa Conference League. Obviously, you have an option to not pay for them in the Europa League, whereas the Champions League, you don't. Now, obviously, we can rant about the problems all day, but what do you think the solution is?
To be completely honest, I think it's the only solution to all of these problems is new ownership, but we're not going to get it. So we need to make amends with what we have and what we can do, and what's the best we can do with, like I say, what we have. So if that means hiring Eric Ten Hag or directors of football, if that means a mass clear out in the squad, it has to be done. But we all know, we all have our opinions on the Glazers, and it's all pretty much the same, and that's just lazy Americans that know nothing about football. So there's no point putting trust or hope into them.
I don't know if you've seen the 1958. Have you ever heard of the
I did see that.
Yeah. I was at first. I read the statement personally, and I read it on my own at first. It's no secret on these streams. It's no secret to anyone. With ADHD and a symptom that I have is being impulsive and not thinking things through properly. So I read that statement, and at first I didn't mention anything about it or anything like that online. At first I thought it was a little bit aggressive, a little bit too direct. But I was reading it with my uncle last night. Obviously, over the past few days, we've been chatting for hours on end about United, about how bad it is. And I was reading it with him last night, and I thought it's a very good statement. Gary Neville, as much as people are disagreeing with Gary Neville a lot, disagreeing with Wayne Rooney over the past 12 hours as well. As much as that's happening, they do care about the club. Let's be honest, they are club legends. And Gary Neville is very vocal about the Glazers right now. I think this is heading towards a protest. I have absolutely no information on this, by the way. I'm just going to state that I'm not privy to any information. This is a complete guess to anyone who's out here trying to say I'm privy to information. It's a complete guess. I think this may be heading towards a protest, legal protest, obviously, and constant protests. They're trying to make contact with Must as well, and obviously we're into the chat about ownership again. And I think United fans, we have the same conversation every single day in the sense of with our mates, with people we know, etc. We're thinking about the same things every single day. The only thing that's keeping me going right now is Ten Hag, but I also think if I'm available to be at any protest, there will be anyone that can support protests, legal protests, of course, support them. But I don't see a light at the end of this tunnel, at the end of the Glazer tunnel. I'm not talking about this season. I haven't seen a light at the end of this season's tunnel since game week 5. So my dream, I don't know what your dream owner would be. I will ask you in a second. My dream owner would be, and I don't know whether the legality in football terms would be allowed, My dream owner would be David Beckham with a consortium of people, which he could absolutely do, as he is one of the most famous people on the planet and very rich. A consortium of people with David Beckham buying the club. Who would your dream owner actually be? Let's just say news came out that the Glazers put it up for sale.
I think with the I do have an answer for this, but I think with what you said about David Beckham and a consortium, I just think that would be disastrous. And I know you're probably gonna be really surprised by that, but as you know, I do keep up with a lot of the leagues across the world. Inter Miami are bottom of their regional league with 1 point. So it seems
They are
all
a new
good and
club,
great.
though, surely.
No, you are correct, but they've signed Blaise Matuidi, Gonzalo Higuain, and a load of other players. I'm there thinking he has the funds, or he does not yeah, he probably does have the funds to do it, but he has the contacts to do. He has all that. I just wonder whether it would actually work out the way we think it would. And I
Yeah.
personally would rather someone who like I think when it comes to ownership, I do not even want realistically, I do not even care about how rich they are or how much money they'll put into us. I just want an owner that cares about the club and wants us to be one of the best in the world, like where we
Yeah.
belong.
Well,
So
to be honest,
if yeah,
sorry, let me just interrupt you there. In my opinion,
no
obviously,
problem.
I have no information, and I will get into the comments. I've said I will, and I will do. Newcastle's owners and City's owners specifically, I don't think they care about the club. I'm not talking. I'm not saying that I want their owners. I absolutely do not want any of their owners anywhere near United. I don't mind if the person doesn't care about the club, but what I mind is if they run it properly. Let's just say I bought. Let's just say I bought my where my computer monitor is from, Dell. Let's just say I bought that company. I don't really care about that company, but I would try and run it properly. Does that make sense?
No, it does. No, you're correct, and I do understand your point of view. But for example, the Glazers, I'd say if we want to go back to what is it, 2003 they bought us, or 2004, it was
2005.
one of the years. Oh, 2005. Sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But let's say we went back to 2005, right? From the information we have of the Glazers leveraging debt and buying us, even though they didn't really buy us, they got it for free. If if we go back to that time and we think, right, who are these Glazer family? Oh well, they don't really care about the club. They know nothing about the club. But let's see what happens. I feel like 20 years later, or 10 years later, sorry, it's a very similar like idea. If a random let's say Elon Musk, for example, right, decided to buy the club, and we're thinking he's very rich. He's the richest man in the world, probably. He doesn't really care about the club, but let's see what happens. I want a
He is a
football.
United fan, to be fair.
Is he? Oh, I don't even know. I'm just saying a
Yeah.
random
Oh, yeah, he's a
example, you know.
United fan, yeah.
Yeah,
No, but I know it was just an
oh,
example, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, of course. But yeah, just a really rich person. Let's just go whoever.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I know a lot of Fire fans are. I know morally, I'm a moral person. I have good morals and that, installed in me. But I think even if we ended up having a Saudi Arabian or someone from Dubai who bought the club as a consortium or just as a rich person, like Prince, let's say, of Saudi Arabia, I'm just a random example, like kind of what happened to Newcastle City and might happen to Chelsea. Again, I'd still be thinking, yeah, I don't agree with their moral, human rights record and all that over in there, but will they run this club to the potential that it should be compared to the Glazers? And I think they would because they care and they want the club. They probably don't necessarily care about the club and its history and that, but more so we want them to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
And so I will sign up like for that. Like where do I sign? I want that. I just don't want they don't have to be necessarily American or sorry from a certain country. Or I'm not picking on the American businessman. I'm just saying I don't want a greedy business person or business family to come in and just see the money potential with the club and just milk us dry like a cow for money. That's it.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. Obviously, we can only talk about the owners so much.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are. It is public how bad they are. It's public to not even just United fans. It's public to other fans as well, how bad they are. It's very clear how bad they are. And this season's just erupting in our faces. I will get into the comments. Robbie says, thank you for the follow, mate. Much appreciated. Go and follow Robbie on Twitch. Check his Twitter out. It's called Robbie Collins, I think. Yeah, I'm 99% sure. Ballzone 15. Go and check him out on Twitch as well. I have a fever while fasting. I hope you get well soon, obviously. That must be difficult as well. My AirPod was falling out. Yeah, I do apologise. I look quite messy and I am quite tired. It is my mum's birthday, so I've been up early, and I'm not used to being up early. Afternoon, guys. Another game week, another depressive performance. Maybe because since I've started these game weeks, we've been on a downward spiral. So maybe I'm the curse. Maybe next season when I'm not doing game weeks, maybe we'll get better. And if we do, maybe I'm the curse. I think people are too obsessed with players having to perform perfectly to deserve their goal. Bruno also got this criticism too. The Bruno criticism, I really don't get it. I've criticised Bruno myself over the past few weeks for a few things, including moaning at the referee. But the other day, I don't think he played too badly. Also, it wasn't his fault specifically because he played in a false nine, didn't he? And it just didn't work. We've not got good enough players to play that. We're not Manchester City currently, are we? Players don't even look motivated to finish fourth. It's like they've already given up. Stephen Alton said, take him to Amsterdam, get him on that brass, bring them back. Before we move on from United, would you play the kids, as in, would you play Charlie McNeil, which I've been calling for a while, as you know? Hannibal, I never know how to pronounce it. Hannibal Mabry. There's another lad we've just signed as well, an 18-year-old centre-back. We've got, who else we've got? We've got Shola Tere. Obviously, we've got Elanga. Would you play this lot?
To be completely honest, Kane, I think because our players don't want to try, I know our youngsters will. Because, at least I would at least take some fucking effort, which some of our players won't put in, and they're all on 200 grand a week, and they're just strolling around the place, not even trying. I mean, I'd rather finish 8th than 7th, because what the fuck is a Conference League? It's a joke where we are, and my mates were taking the piss out of me saying, "How have you signed Ronaldo, Sancho, and Varane, and you went from 2nd to 7th?" And I said, there's a multitude of reasons, but it is a joke. I'd rather finish 8th or 9th than be stuck in that fucking another Thursday night football. I'd rather just give a reset to our next manager. But I probably would play the youngsters at this stage, because I don't care.
Yeah.
It's gone to the point now where it's like it's dangling by a thread how much interest I have in our club now. I'd probably rather play Charlie McNeil up front, or Joe Hugill, Shola Tere, Noah Memran,
Because
who's
you're
probably
learning
going to be in the
something
club
new.
now.
You're learning something new. You're not like Saturday. Let's be honest. We're probably not going to play the youth, but we're learning something new from that. We're not playing, and this isn't a dig at an individual player. This is a dig at the 11 players on the pitch, including arguably people say our player of the season in De Gea. Including De Gea, including McTominay, including Rashford, including Elanga, including the lot of them. Maybe not Elanga as much, as he's obviously still a young lad and still coming through. We see them every week. We've seen them every week this season. They've thrown 2 managers, including a club legend, regardless of whether he was good enough or not. They did throw him under the bus. They absolutely did. And the reports yesterday were that they've thrown Ranić under the bus as well. They're tired of his methods. They're tired of this. They're tired of that. I don't want to play football. I want to play football. I want to get game time. But you don't deserve it. Like you absolutely do not deserve it. You didn't. Marcus Rashford, I've seen reports of him saying, well, not him specifically, but I've seen reports that sources close to Marcus Rashford are saying that they're baffled as to why he didn't start. You didn't deserve to start. Like, you really didn't deserve to start. Why are you moaning? Like, I'm nearly at breaking point with this team. We're going to have to move on in a second. I'll get into the rest of the comments. I'd argue even Leicester could finish above us. I've got the table here. Leicester are on 37 points. We're on 51, so I don't think that'll happen. I don't think we'll drop that many points. they have extra games. They have how many extra games do they have to us? They've only got 2 extra games. Hard work should be the bare minimum. It shouldn't be applauded. I agree with that. Can't COVID come back so we can end the season. Lockdown Man United, man. I am very nostalgic about Lockdown Man United. Lost trust in these players. Even Sancho isn't reliable currently. None of them are. Not one out of the 11 players on the pitch are reliable currently. They're all making mistakes. They're all at fault. Accountability has to be taken into play. Bruno pussied out of a tackle the other day that led to a goal, and I know it got disallowed. But why are you ducking out of a 50-50 tackle? Do what Pogba did against Liverpool. Get sent off if it means stopping it. Do you know what I mean? Put something into it. Don't duck out the tackler. I remember watching it and it's like looks like just emptiness in this team. No matter if we get Ten Hag or Poch in our current situation, what can they do? I'm not denying the quality, but what can they do with these players? They need new players. They need to reset. We need a reset. We absolutely do. Even when the board sacked Ollie, they made him do an interview, and I think he wanted to do the interview personally. I think he wanted to say goodbye because if that was the board's method, they would have done that with Mourinho, they would have done that with Van Gaal, they would have done that with Moyes. Solskjaer obviously is a club legend, and Solskjaer is a very humble man. We all know what he's like, and he's, to me, I love him for that, regardless of how he did in the manager role. So I think that was his decision to do that interview. Then appointing an interim just tells the squad season is done. Unbelievable. Guarantee you Rooney hates the Glazers too, but he can't say anything as he knows he wants to be manager here. Undoubtedly, yeah. I don't obviously disagreed with some things Rooney said last night, but I don't think he was was just like, he's got his own opinion. Do you know what I mean? Whether we think he's talking rubbish or not, he's got his own opinion, and so have I, so have you, and I guess unless you're inciting hate, we've all got to and negativity, we've all got to respect each other's opinion. It's when people incite hate and negativity that I don't respect their opinion. Which I suppose I am being a little bit hypocritical on this specific stream by saying that, as I am being a little bit negative. Yeah, Ten Hag is the only reason why I have a hope. He's the difference maker, assuming we don't get new owners. Just want owners who care. Could you just imagine, though, like, I think I said this last week on stream to you as well. I'm going to keep repeating it. This summer, we protested a few times. And I mean, like, protested legally, though. And we did, like, online campaigns, like, not a penny more. And I'm not talking about, like, the hashtag Glazers Out campaign. It's not really, I don't think that'll ever really work. No. But the not a penny more movement and things like that. Imagine if that happened. Imagine if we got them out. Like, I remember, I think I spoke about it on yesterday's stream. I remember the day the Super League was breaking down. The night there was a game on. I can't remember what game it was. And just before that, TalkSport had tweeted the Glazer family are considering selling Manchester United. Obviously, they didn't, but that thought, I was like jumping up and down in my living room, like a little kid jumping up and down, like that's what I want. Do you know what I mean? Imagine seeing that news. I don't think City's owners care about the club. I think it's a sports washing project in order to improve their image because of what they're actually doing. Newcastle we haven't seen yet. Garnacho, yeah, forgot about Garnacho. I never know how to pronounce his name too. He's very promising. He got into the Argentina squad at age 17, which is mad, isn't it? I play youth because at this point, what have we got left to lose? We're still somehow top 40s still on. I'd rather Arsenal have won last night and just not get any of our hopes up. Like Leicester basically have free because our extra game is at Anfield. True, but you never know, do you? You never know. At the end of the day, to end this discussion about United, I'm going to stay positive about United in the sense of try and be positive going forward. Obviously, as things change and things like that, and as, like, let's say Ten Hag gets announced, I'm obviously going to be very positive, and people can say, "Oh, you're a flip flop," whatever. There's going to be positivity. I'd rather. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather delusional positivity than toxic negativity constantly. Obviously, people can see I'll be negative when it's needed to be negative, but only when it's breaking point for me. When people can hear, like, people can see, like, my heart almost cracking because of how I'm speaking about United and how I'm seeing United. But moving on, right? Wolves, Wolves, Aston Villa. Johnny, it was his 100th appearance, and he's had 3 goals in, I think, 3 or 4 games. Wolves tweeted it today. I've seen it on my recommended. He's impressed me a lot, Johnny, actually, and so is Bruno Lage. I'm not sure I've spoken about him too much on these streams. What a manager! Like, and how is he doing it so low key? He's not all over the media. I remember, not in like a bad way. I remember Nuno getting 7th, and it was all over. Like Sky were gassing about it. BT were. Everyone on YouTube was.
Yeah.
I think Bruno Lage is better than Nuno ever was. I never really rated Nuno. How good do you think he is, and do you think this is a project for them that could go even further?
Yeah, I think Nuno got a lot of Nuno Espirito Santo got a lot of what's the publicity, a lot of credit and spotlight put on what he did was because he was with them in the championship as well when they skyrocketed what was it, 5 years ago maybe, yeah, something like that. With the players they had, and they managed to sign Ruben Neves, who was the captain of Porto at the age of like 18, 19, which is quite impressive, you
They
know.
say he's
And
the greatest of all time in the championship, don't they?
he played one season, you know. At least, you know.
No,
But,
people have actually said that. I'm not even taking the mic.
fucking hell.
Yeah,
Fair enough, like, yeah.
yeah.
He's not even. I don't even know if he's like as good as people say he's Neves. I'm still not sure about him, which is funny because he's
Oh, I
25
like
now.
Neves. I'd love him at
Oh, I
United.
like him as well. Yeah,
I'd love him.
yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, mate, I said it before. I'll take Ariel Romeo at United because you have no one there. So, but like, he and I is good. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if he's like this fucking Barcelona level sentiment. I don't think he is that. But he'll definitely prove me wrong. He can do that, you know, because I've seen the potential. He is a good, very good midfielder. But apart from that, he had Diogo Jota actually really early on loan from Benfica. I'm not sure, but he had him on loan anyway, and he signed permanently.
Yeah. I think it was
And
Porto actually.
obviously, yeah, or Porto. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But we obviously know now he went on to Liverpool a few years later, and we're just talking about the start of the show, like he's doing really well at Liverpool now. But with Wolves, they managed to finish first in the championship, which is all right, fair enough. And then he finished 7th the following season, which is quite impressive for a team that just got promoted, you know. And Leeds done that last season as well with Bielsa, but I think, and Sheffield United done something like that as well in their first season. But I think that was more of an element of surprise kind of thing. And second season syndrome would, bash them down. But Wolves managed to stay in and around that. And obviously, yeah, like yourself, I didn't really rate because his style of football was horrific. I thought
Awful. Yeah.
park the bus football. You know, he was a mini version of Jose Mourinho. That's all I seen him as. And he went to Spurs. I pissed myself laughing because I knew that's a terrible appointment because he's not that good of a manager. Like he just isn't. I mean, I was wrong. I was right because he got sacked a few months later. But with Bruno Lage, he's doing quite well, I must say. He sold Rui Patricio, which I do actually kind of like Rui Patricio. He's at AS Roma now with Jose, funny enough. And he signed Jose Sa from Olympiacos. And I thought that was a bit of a strange move, but like let's see how it works out. And he's proven to be one of the top keepers in the league this season. Like he just is. He's playing really well. And he's let go of Adama Traore to Barcelona, and he's doing really well at Barca. And I'm a bit confused by that because I was like he was one of their focal points in the attack ever since they got promoted, Adama Traore. And they let him go on free, and they obviously signed Francisco Trincao from Barca, who would do right as well. And they sort of built a team of players that actually work for each other. And there's no star player anymore. It used to be Raul
There seems
Jimenez
to
and
be a
Jota
real
for Neville, you know?
a real togetherness at Wolves.
Yeah.
And obviously this is from watching them, and this is going to sound quite silly, but this is from. I'm not sure if you see Sky Sports do interviews with players. I'm not sure whether it's on in Ireland. There's a program on Saturday mornings called Saturday Social, where a group of people, I think 4 people, two co-hosts and two guests, gather, and then and they also have like clips of interviews and that. The funniest player in the Premier League, I don't care. I'm saying this right now. The funniest player in the Premier League is what's his name? The Wolves player, you know, the Portuguese player. The guy, it said very false.
Yeah, Trinko, isn't it?
No, Neto, that's it. It's Pedro Neto.
Oh, Neto, yeah, Neto. Sorry,
Yeah, he's the funniest player in the Premier League. I love watching like videos of him speaking, laughing, etc. And as much as I don't like him because he's a Scouser, Cody is also very funny. And they've done a few interviews with a few Wolves players, and they did Bruno Lage as well. Very. There seems to be a real togetherness. They all care. They're all in it together, and there seems to be something being built there. Now, I think there's still a few positions away. Obviously, well, they undoubtedly are still a few positions away from European places, although they're not that far off us. I think the 2 points behind us or something like that. Yeah. One of the worst signings, and I know he's still a young lad. I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack. This isn't on a whim. I said this when I first seen him during lockdown. The worst player I've ever seen in the Premier League is their record signing, Fabio Silva. He is awful. Jimenez, whatever his name is. I think he's good, but the injury, it's obviously knocked him off a little bit. It's obviously dented his consistency a little bit. I think they need another striker. What do you reckon about the positions that they need?
What you said about Fabio Silva, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think he's a Premier League striker. Like, I don't think he's that yet. Like, and I don't think Wolves was the right move for him at the time because he's only 17, 18, and like he's still developing. You know, like he's a very stocky, lanky striker. He should have built out like in Germany or Spain or somewhere like that, even Italy, and then come to the Premier League at 23, 24. So I don't think he made the right move, but I do get what you're saying. Like, doesn't seem to be like that kind of. He's not great, and he hasn't played well for Wolves as well. That doesn't protect him either. But he is a good player, and I remember watching him as well in Porto. He's decent, you know. But I don't think he made the wrong decision going to Wolves. But besides the point, in regards to Wolves signing a striker, I think they do need a striker, you know. Because Raul Jimenez, I remember he's so prolific, and we were even linked to him before the head injury, which is awful head injury. He damaged his skull or something.
I remember watching
he done something bad anyway.
I'm scared for him. I remember watching it there. I think they were playing Arsenal, weren't they? Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, it was obviously quite bad. And I think when I heard about what happened, the injury he had, I remember saying to my dad, I was saying, Raul Jimenez, like if you look at his stats, he's scored a lot of headers, and you can kind of see how that will actually affect his style of play, like whipping crosses and that. So, and then obviously he came back with the Petr Cech scrum cap, but like even then, he's sort of, like you said, he's sort of just not been as prolific, and he scored every now and again. So maybe they do need a striker, maybe a younger striker, like a 22-year-old. Like, I think Darwin Nunez would be a decent signing for them, but I just don't think he won't go to Wolves.
He's going to do something magic tonight, though. He's going to get a hat trick tonight. I'm actually not watching that game. I'm watching the City game. I'm hoping that the City game is not an entertaining game to watch. I'm hoping it's complete and utter anti-football like it was against us with Atletico Madrid. And they just somehow shit out a win. That's all we can hope for. I don't want to watch an entertaining game with City. I just want to watch them get battered or get very frustrated like our team did, but we couldn't outsmart them. Hold on, let me get into the comments before we move on from this one. Thing is, with Nuno, he took a promoted side to 7th, and that's why I got a lot of love. I'm not saying he's awful, Nuno. Just the style of play was awful, and I never really rated him as this top manager. but I'd argue Largers had a worse squad, which was expected to be in a relegation battle. Stats have indicated that last season, if Neto hadn't been at Wolves last season and he nearly left too, they would have finished 20th. That is mad. They were awful without Jimenez. I remember watching Wolves without Jimenez. So do I. No joke, on the worst side. Yeah, they were like, real bad. Real bad. Leeds, Southampton. There's not much we can say about this, but James Ward-Prowse, obviously, I know you support Ireland. Do you think he should be going to the Euros? Because I do. I mean, the World Cup. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
The Euros.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm still dumbfounded to this day how he didn't go to the Euros. I mean, he brought Jesse fucking Lingard. I suppose he was in good form. He's at West Ham, but like there were some players I remember looking and going, like, Ward-Prowse is better than him, you know. And he should have went to the Euros. He was actually on good form. Like he was actually scoring a lot of Now, granted, they were free kicks, but he was actually in good form. Toward the back end of last season. And he's still continuing that. Like, I mean, he's almost like that Matt Letizia player now for them, like that star player they have. And Danny Ings was that for a good while, and then obviously they sold him, and it just hasn't worked out at Aston Villa really. But I don't know whether he'll actually go anywhere, because he seems to be that Southampton lad, and I think he's been there his whole career, and he's captain now, I believe. And he seems to just be happy in the role he is. So, but I think I said this to you before, on an early show, early on in the season. Like, I think he just doesn't get picked for England because he plays for Southampton. And I think that's the only reason, because there seems to be a bias with the lower league teams, like in the bottom half of the table, to mid table. He doesn't seem to like he doesn't seem to really like them players unless it's Tyrone Mings or someone like that. He just doesn't really seem to like Ward-Prowse. Like he should probably be in the England squad more consistently. He should go to the World Cup.
Second best set piece taker in Premier League history, in my opinion, if not the best. I'm never going to say the best because Beck's.
You're back and forth.
Yeah. I'm never. That is complete and utter bias, by the way. I completely admit that. That is complete and utter bias towards Beck's, of course. And no one can bend a ball like Beckham. If you've seen the film, you've never seen the film.
Of course I have. Yeah.
I was wondering then. Yeah, it's one of my favorite films ever. I was gonna go mental, and if you hadn't, it's a great film. But he absolutely should be going to the World Cup. Chelsea 1, Brentford 4. There's a lot to discuss with this match. What a goal from Rudiger! First of all, what a goal!
Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable. First of all, do you think this was just a blip?
For Chelsea or Brentford?
Chelsea.
Oh, do you know what? I think it's been coming for a while, and I said this to my dad as well during the weekend when I seen it was 3-1. I just laughed because I said to him, this happens every season. Chelsea get battered by a lower league team 4-1, or West Brom did it last season, and it's happened a good few times where they just get battered by small teams, just the once off. But in this case, I remember looking and watching our games in the past few weeks and thinking they're only winning these games 1-0, last minute winners.
I've said
and I think it's just been coming.
They don't score.
Yeah.
A little bit like us, to be honest. Not as bad as our performances. They just struggle to score. They don't. To me, my opinion on Lukaku is absolutely based off his time here, and looking from his time at other clubs. He's very, very, very overrated. Never worth £100 million as a player, and with all the baggage that comes with him in the sense of his attitude, his chaoticness off the pitch. And Chelsea in general have got a lot of chaos going on off of the pitch. Obviously, they're in the middle of a change of ownership. They don't even know whether they're going to go into administration or not. It's probably unlikely, but they have no idea. They can't sell much. They can't do anything really. I don't know who they've got next. I'm not actually too sure who they've got next, but I can see them dropping more points towards the end of the season. They really don't score. They're relying on the centre back to score their only goal against Brentford. I remember doing a Chelsea Palace watch along, and Palace are good. Don't get me wrong, and we're going to get into that. And they struggled to score. They took until the last minute to score against Palace. I'm not doubting how good Tuchel is, by the way, because he's got to, I think, every single final that's been available to him, and obviously he's won the Champions League with them. So I don't think obviously Chelsea are a sacking club, but I don't think they should sack him yet or anything like that. And I don't think any of it's really his fault. I'll wait for you to come back before I shoot anything else. I may do. No, it's fine. Just to let I know there's only 3 people in here currently. I may do an update video. I may record it just after this and upload it. I may not. I'm thinking of doing one just to let other people know about what's going to go on. But anyway, Brentford. Eriksen. Genuinely, my uncle thought I was joking when I said it to him the other day. Like took me a few times to tell him I weren't joking. I'd take him at United as a backup to Bruno. Would you?
Yeah. No, I do get what you're saying, and I really have big admiration for Christian Eriksen for his comeback story, because I think all of us were watching that Denmark game where the unfortunate happened, and he collapsed, and it was very scary because I really liked it, Christian Eriksen as a footballer. I really did, and I still do. He's not dead around. I'm just saying I really liked him as a footballer, and what happened was so sad. And I mean, he won the Serie A with Inter, and he got to the semi-final of Euros, with Denmark in a way. So it was quite inspirational, the fact that I seen him. He was released by Inter, and he came back to a tougher and more physical, more demanding, stronger league, and to the Premier League in a borderline relegation battle side, mid-table. And I just thought, wow, that is the amount of courage, to do that. And he's playing really well as well.
In 5 games as well, including for his national team, and some very, very good goals.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I really liked him at Spurs. I really did. I thought he was very underrated, and until he left, he was underrated his whole career. I think I really liked him. The only thing with Christian Eriksen about coming to United is, I remember the January transfer window, we signed Bruno at the end. We were linked to Eriksen a lot, and even then I was a bit unsure about signing him. I was like, oh, he's out of form. He's 28, 29, And I know you're saying there, because I've thought about this, because there's a transfer we're doing around saying that we'd be interested in him because he's a free agent in the summer. And I assume that's what you reference, or you're referencing there. But the thing is with Christian Eriksen, he will be a brilliant backup with Bruno. Don't get me wrong. The only thing is he's a bit too old, and who was he? Who did he play for? Like, what manager did he play for in his prime? I think that just sums up the entire transfer story.
I've just realised. Yeah, obviously, I knew
if he's going to get Poch as a manager. Yeah, I'm just saying, if we get Poch as a manager,
very unlikely at this point that we get Pochettino, to be honest.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's being put out there now. And a good note to mention is there's absolutely no news about Pochettino. Andy Mitten did an article today, and it was a very good article, and he mentioned sort of his opinion a little bit and some news. It wasn't too much new news, if that makes sense. But it was just obviously a little bit of a clarification, things like that, which I suppose with Andy Mitten, to me it's absolutely acceptable because he's a very good journalist, and not just because he's come on this channel, but that boosts his reputation with me because he's been on this channel. But anyway, I feel like it's very unlikely that we get Pochettino at this point. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's a ghost town when it comes to Pochettino news. And thankfully, rightfully so, he is.
I don't think United.
Even polls he could run, Well, like I'm saying, I think the situation with the manager situation is they really wanted to get Poch in as manager because he just ticks all their boxes for what the Glazers want to do, but the fan base completely disagree with Poch as a manager. and I think what they're doing is they're holding on and trying to grind us down to the point where we have to accept them, and it's just not going to work because me and you, we're both intelligent like fans. Like we're not stupid like when it comes to like fan bases at United. And you could probably say, yeah, there is a lot of stupid United fans, but I mean, as a fan base, we're much more switched on to what we were in like the early thousands, and the likes. And I'm not criticizing fans back then. I'm just saying we have our own voice now compared to what the newspapers was just what the
Social
social
media,
media.
as much as I disagree with a lot,
Yes.
I would say 90% of what is put out there by some of our fans on
Yeah.
social media. Social media has given a lot of people a bigger voice than they felt they had back in the early
Yeah.
2000s, and obviously it's given United another sort of outlet to listen to fans. I guess if you want to
Yeah.
call it that, I wouldn't say they're really listening because we're not even speaking to them. We're just basically speaking to ourselves, tweeting and putting on Instagram. We want Ten Hag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Eriksen would fit Ten Hag's system very, very well. From what I know, and you will know a
Yeah.
lot more than me. Like I'm not even going to claim to know much about Erik Ten Hag and his system, but just from what I know and small clips that I've seen, I know basically I know not much at all, and I am looking to be before the end of the season. I'm not sure yet. To get someone on that speaks about Erik Ten Hag's style of play. I am
Yeah.
looking to get that to happen. Do you think Eriksen would fit Ten Hag's style of play?
Yeah, I know what you're saying there. I think he would actually, funny enough, because Ericsson actually made his breakthrough at Ajax. Spurs bought
Yeah.
him from Ajax with the Gareth Bale money. I think it was like for 20 million. He's actually came through at Ajax and obviously he flourished there if the Spurs bought him. So I think he would actually work. And I'm not saying Ten Hag follows the exact same style of play as Ajax did 10 years ago, but they're similar concepts and other like. But I think he would work because if you think about it, this is a prime example here. Daley Blind, obviously, I don't know what you think of Daley Blind. I really loved him when he was at United,
I
and
like him. Yeah.
we signed him from. Yeah, of course. He's a very likable player. He's a very honest
Yeah.
player, and very versatile. As you know. We signed him from Ajax and we sold him back to Ajax, and uh, similar to Ericsson, actually, he had a few heart problems. He had cardiac arrest and the likes on the pitch a few times. And scarily, I thought he would have retired by now, but he's still playing, and he's playing well with under Ten Hag. Ten Hag has used him in the system, and he's sort of obviously his system is designed to cover players' flaws and the likes and their weaknesses. And Daley Blind's weakness is probably his pace. But his football and brain is fantastic. Like he can play defensive midfield, centre back, left back, and under Ten Hag, if you watch some of the Ajax games, they plays him as a left back instead of Nicolas Tagliafico, and he plays him left back. But obviously, it's well known that he's not too fast because he's 33 now, I think 34. But in attack, in transition, he plays him in defence in the back three, like, and maybe sometimes in midfield to cover for his lack of pace. So if Ten Hag can cover a player like Daley Blind's weakness, which is his pace, like I said, I'm sure there's a way he could be able to fit Christian Eriksen into his teams because he's also very, very smart, football intelligent. So I wouldn't rule out Christian Eriksen coming to United, but I think we need to be signing younger players. But we are going to be a Conference League team soon, so maybe that's our standard now. Yeah, no. So.
I guess what I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Burnley 0, Manchester City 2. Obviously, it's a routine win, I guess, and Burnley definitely going down at this point. With City, they've got Liverpool at the weekend, which is arguably the biggest game of the season for them. It probably is the biggest game of the season for them. Right now, I don't see them beating the Scousers, unfortunately. What do you reckon? Do you reckon they beat them?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go out for that one actually, mates. But it's going to be tough, because every single season, like that's almost like this. That's what the Scousers and the Noisy Neighbours. That's what they always look for in the Premier League timetable for fixtures start of every season. It's just them two games home and away, because it is the biggest two fixtures of the season because they're both the two best teams in the league by a long way. And to be honest, this season alone, and in form, they're both. I think we're gonna have. I don't know if you remember the season we finished. I think it was the season we had. Ollie came in as an intern after Jose, and
6th we finished.
yeah, we finished 6th. Yeah,
We went
the season left
like
to
we
be
didn't
desired,
win like 12 games in a row, did we? At the end,
yeah, and then we lost like 3, and we were in 6th. But this.
yeah,
But I remember that season. They City finished in 98 and Liverpool 97, and it went down to the last game, like, to the wire. They just wouldn't stop lose. They couldn't stop winning from January to May, and it was just to see that determination. I think we're gonna see it again because there's only a point or two between them now. I'm not really sure, but I think we're gonna have that again this season. So this game will be crucial to who wins it. Obviously, I mean, it sounds very obvious, but I think it'll probably be a draw. But don't get me wrong, you can't rule out like either side making a 2-1, 3-1 win, you know. But it's just so hard to predict because they're so good. I'll say 2-all draw, you know.
that's fair. I'm just thinking, imagine that like, we used to be like that, where we drop a few points before Christmas, and then after Christmas we bang out like a 14, 15 game winning streak, like City and the Scousers do. That is literally basically what we used to do. Wow, just miss it so much, man. I can't wait for us to win the next title. Tottenham 5, Newcastle 1. Now,
Yeah,
I'm going to point out something Wayne Rooney said on Monday Night Football, and something I completely and utterly disagree with. He said that Harry Kane's performance on Sunday was a simple performance from Harry Kane. It was made out to be more than it was. I completely and utterly disagreed with that. For me, wow, watching Harry Kane out, he got one assist and he got a yellow card, but as soon as he came out in the second half, the game changed. He changed that game on his own. What a player!
Yeah.
Like we obviously we know Harry Kane's quality and things like that. We're not doubting his quality, but this performance specifically, do you think this showed just how good he is, even when he's not banging in the goals and even banging in loads of assists?
Yeah, because I think Kane's adapted his style of play to being more of a centre forward, more so a striker, an out and out striker. He's dropping back, and we've seen that in the Euros. He's dropping back a lot, dropping deep, to get the ball and passing it, because he does it at Spurs, and he's been doing it for the past year or two, where he's more of a creator rather than just an out goal scorer. Now he scores goals, but he seems to bring in the assists and the contributing and the passing game more to his game. And I respect that because I've seen it firsthand, and sort of you with Wayne Rooney when Louis van Gaal came into the side. Obviously, he turned Wayne Rooney from an aging, maybe we should sell him striker at 29, 30 and he dropping deeper and deeper into a attacking midfielder player into a centre midfielder, and because he utilised his creativity. Because Wayne Rooney, if you remember, the season we last won the league in 2013, he played a big part compared to his last few seasons, where he's actually contributing more in terms of assists and likes, because he let Robin van Persie do all the goal scoring, and Wayne Rooney was more of the assist man. And he done that in 2008 as well with Ronaldo and Tevez, where he dropped deeper and he played more passes rather than shooting. And I respect any player that can adapt their game and just show how good they are as a player. Like Harry Kane is quite clearly a very good player, and you can argue world class. He definitely is. And the fact that he's adapted his style of play into this kind of what Wayne Rooney did, and is more contributing the build up and the likes. And yeah, he did only get like an assist, and I thought just an assist or two. But it's more of a, I think the likes of Wayne Rooney's opinion there was more of a, he only had a simple performance because he's a striker. He's supposed to be scoring rather than just assisting. He got an assist at it. 6 out of 10 performance. which me and you both know it was not. It was well better than that because we both followed Harry Kane, his progression because he is one of the best players in the league.
Yeah,
From this out and out striker when he was younger to this sort of more intelligent. I'm not saying he's not smart at all throughout his career, but he's more aware of his making passes and opportunities and the likes for his teammates. Like Son is relishing. I think they don't. I think you said to me as well before that Son and Kane they've assisted each other the most or something like that ever in Premier League history.
yeah, in the league,
That just shows it, you
Rooney
know.
and Ronaldo are
Yeah,
second.
yeah. I think that just shows it, to be honest, because Kane is, like I said, adapted his game, and it's not a simple performance. And I think Wayne Rooney should be more aware to that because he
Yeah,
followed the similar steps himself. So
yeah. Just on Wayne Rooney, this isn't linked
yeah,
to the Premier League. Ravel Morrison, I know quite a lot about Ravel Morrison's story. I'm not sure whether you do personally or Ed, but whether anyone else in this
I
chat
do.
does.
Yeah,
Undiagnosed with ADHD from a teenager, involved in things he didn't want to be involved in, including gang life, and some would say got him with the wrong crowd, was in the wrong crowd, was involved in complete and utter mess of things, and his career has been very chaotic to say the least, and I'm sure Ravel would admit that himself.
yeah,
Wayne Rooney, under Wayne Rooney at Derby, he's doing very, very well, and what a beautiful goal he scored to win them the game the other day. I feel like Wayne Rooney's personality is suited to the likes of Ravel Morrison. Wayne Rooney's probably, if he's not got ADHD or anything like that, he's a very, very, or was a very, very hyperactive man, like a very aggressive man. Let's be honest with ourselves, and we love
yeah,
that about him. And to see Ravel doing really well like that, as much as I don't watch every game of Derby in comparison to like Kenny, who's been in the chat, who does watch a lot of games of Derby, I love the fact that he's gelled with Ravel Morrison. It's great to see Ravel Morrison doing very well. That's just on a side note. It's just amazing to see that. Obviously, we've seen Ravel Morrison go from pillar to post from the Swedish league to the Championship twice, to the Premier League twice, and fail each time. And he's really picking up some form at Derby, so it's great to see. And hopefully, Reading lose to Stoke tonight. So that can help Derby. But moving on, West Ham 2, Everton 1. Everton are just the shite. Like, that is the only word that I can describe. They're just so bad. It was a fluke goal
yeah,
from Holgate. It was nicely hit, but it was a fluke goal. Obviously, Cresswell, beautiful free kick, and Bowen. Like, what a player, man! What a player.
yeah.
I love Sancho, but he probably should be starting for England over Sancho right now, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I think Bowen. It's funny with Bowen because he had a very good start to the season, and he was definitely my fans Premier League, so that's how I kept up to date with him. You know, he scored every game. It seemed like. I think he got an injury just after Christmas. I might be wrong, but he didn't seem to be playing as much, so I assume he was injured. And he's come back and he's scoring goals again, which is great because I really like Bowen. I remember watching watching the game where Hull were in Hull City were in the Championship. They're about to get relegated, but and I remember just seeing him and thinking he's actually a very good player. And they obviously sold him before they got relegated to West Ham. And I thought that's an interesting move because he's arguably one of the best players in the Championship of Hull City. And I think signed for 15, 20 million. And I heard he has a release clause of 25 million for West Ham. So I thought that's a bargain for if anyone wants to sign him because he's 25, basically in his prime now, and he's playing for a top six team and he's scoring goals consistently. In regards to England, he should be playing for England, yeah. I don't know whether. Oh, sorry, man. But genuinely, it's quite impressive how he's rose from. I hope Harry doesn't mind this, but Hull are not the best team. They're not a good team, and I don't know if they
Ozil
got
might be
promoted back
signing
to
for
the
them. They might
Championship.
be getting better. I know they've got new owners. They've got new Turkish
Oh
owners, and the
yeah,
Turkish owners are looking to sign Ozil. From what I've seen.
yeah.
But
That's
moving
brilliant.
on from that, apologies to interrupt
Yeah,
again.
No problem. No, and I actually do like all that. They had a lad called George Moneyman who was actually a decent midfielder from them as well. But moving on, with Jared Bowen, he is a very, very good player. And like I said, I do admire how he came from the lower end of the championship to the top six Premier League winger. And he's playing, like I said, playing really well consistently. In regard, yeah, when he's playing for England, he should be playing for England.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether he's as a creative player as a Jadon Sancho, who's quite focused on being a creativity end of things as a winger. And Bowen scores a lot of goals. But you can definitely play like him or Saka right wing and Sancho on the left, or Foden on the left, or Grealish. I think he's a brilliant squad option in the World Cup. You know, I
Yeah.
don't know whether he should be starting ahead of a Sancho, because Sancho is quite clearly needs to. I'm to speak fucking Irish. He's a better player than I think Sancho's a better player than he was, but
Yeah.
Bowen is a good squad option for.
Definitely, yeah. Morrison's been very good and is often the most clutch player for them. Talking about Derby, Bowen will become another Kane or Rice, where they are too expensive to move to a big club. Golden Cage. West Ham.
Yeah.
I would argue West Ham are better than us at the minute. Like if we finish above West Ham, if we finish fourth, in my opinion, it's masking many issues. Obviously, I want us to finish as high as possible. I want us to win every single game. But if we finish fourth, it's masking many issues. We've absolutely not performed like the fourth best team in the country. The reason I don't think Derby will survive is because they risk another 15 points deduction, which is increasingly likely, and their away form is a disgrace. It's unfortunate, but Wayne Rooney's still done very, very well. We can be we can be a decent team, but shocking at home at the moment. But definitely need a rebuild during the summer, which hopefully the new owners can provide in abundance. I hope so far. I've spoken to a Hull fan quite a lot, and she is very excited about the new owners and really dislike the old owners.
Yeah.
I am quite like it's nice to see a club getting better owners than what they had, and I've seen a few quotes from
Of course.
the new Hull owner, and it seems like he does care, and his strategy and just a few things when he was first taking over, it seems like he cares.
Yeah.
Although from what I've heard, apparently he's made a mistake in sacking the manager that they had. I don't know whether Perry Sports can clarify that or not. That's just someone's opinion that I've spoke to. Crystal
Yeah.
Palace 3, Arsenal 0. And I stated last night, I've said all season long, Patrick Vieira, what is he cooking over there? He's building something very exciting. They're in the FA Cup semi-final. I don't know where they are in the league, but they're very good to watch. Conor Gallagher,
Yeah.
unbelievable player. I've got a tweet somewhere along the line, I think it's November, where I say got the potential to be one of the best midfielders in the league.
Yeah. I
I'm
remember
not sure how to pronounce this, so I apologise if I butcher it. Joaquim Anderson, very good centre back. He took a free kick last night. I don't know whether you've seen, and I thought, why is the centre back lining up to take the free kick? Why? I was like, surely
Well,
not. It actually wasn't a terrible free kick. Obviously, he didn't score, but it wasn't a terrible free kick. Palace last night were just way too fast for Arsenal. Like, in every sense of the word, they were just on it straight away. I remember when we beat Chelsea and Herrera. I'm sure you remember Herrera. Herrera's basically best game in a United shirt for us. It
yeah.
reminded me of that, but just not as good, if that made sense. And Arsenal, obviously, Thomas Partey and Tierney are injured. Tierney's out for the rest of the season. And obviously, as much as don't like Arsenal, I do hope he gets better and everything like that. Never like to see a player injured like that. This, for me, for Palace, this isn't a fluke. I've been saying for ages, like for a few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal drop points to these. I was not expecting 3-0, no doubt. But Palace are a very good side. Vieira, for me, is a very good manager. Like, he's building something very, very good. It's exciting to watch. It looks like he's dealing with players very well. He's keeping the camp happy. And the very, very, I wouldn't say well drilled, but they're very organised as a team. And very exciting to watch. What do you reckon about Patrick Vieira and Crystal Palace?
Yeah, I remember saying I was on a show earlier on, like it was probably my first or second show. I remember speaking with Conor Gallagher, and we were saying, we agreed that he could be one of the best midfielders in the league in a few years, And it's a shame he actually can't play against Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final because he's obviously on loan from Chelsea. So that's a shame. But with Crystal Palace, I've seen their players they signed and they got rid of. They released a lot of players, about 10 players, I think, that were all about 29, 30 and onwards. And they signed a load of young players such as Michael Elise, Mark Way, Joachim Anderson, and obviously Gallagher on loan. And I've seen them signings, and I thought these lads would be dark horses for probably a 10th or a Conference League, something like that. Obviously, that hasn't come to fruition, but they are a very good team, very attractive team to watch. And obviously, we said as well that Donny van de Beek should have went on loan in January, and obviously made a very wrong decision because Everton are just abysmal at the moment. But with Crystal Palace, it is kind of it's a kind of surprising that Patrick Vieira is doing really well because he took charge of New York City in America and he was dreadful as a manager. And he went to Nice in France and he wasn't great either. He balled in the Europa League group stage. He balled on the last day. He finished fourth or third. He was abysmal. He got sacked. And he came to Palace and I thought it's a right club for him, to express the football he wants to play because he does play very good football. He always did. And he's come to Crystal Palace with these young players, flair players as well. I mean, I remember saying to you as well that Michael Elise is a very good player, and he was at Reading before he joined Palace, and he does kind of have that Eberechi Eze vibe about him, where he's a very skillful flair player on the wing, and he's showing that in glimpses of the season. I think he'll kick on next season. He'll show his level because he's a very good potential young player. I think Crystal Palace next season it'll be either the second season syndrome where they finish 14th, or they'll kick on and finish probably 8th or 9th because the league's very competitive, as we know nowadays. And I think Palace, if they don't start progressing and going up the league, their players will be uh, like just pinched from the better teams across Europe, to be honest, because their players are
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all. That's all I can say, really.
With Arsenal, do you think this was a blip? And I assume they'll beat Brighton on Saturday, but if they don't, I know they've got a few players injured. Do you think this was a blip, or do you think they're going to struggle to pick up some points towards the end of the season against teams which you may not expect them to drop points to?
Yeah, I think this was a blip, to be honest. They're in such good form.
Yeah.
And like yourself, you've done a few watch songs with Arsenal. I've watched a few Arsenal games. I think it was a blip, to be honest.
Yeah.
But with the injuries they've sustained with Tierney and Parry, to be honest, both of them players are kind of injury prone anyway. But they're starting players, so they are good quality players. So obviously it'll take an impact on them, take a toll on them.
Yeah.
But I think they will grind out fourth or third, even third, because Chelsea aren't doing well, obviously, as well.
Yeah, Chelsea could
But
be in the
I
top
don't
four
think it's a
race.
problem,
No,
They might be, yeah.
I'll just get into the last few comments and then I'll share my screen for something I need to share my screen for. The manager we currently have isn't good in my opinion. 2 or 3 wins in something like 11 isn't good enough. Has no experience in the country. Rumours have it that he's on a 6-game trial for his future. I guess that's fair enough with the trial. Obviously, new owners are trying new things and things like that. But in my opinion, we should have kept McCann until the end of the season at least. Someone else has said that I spoke to as well. Their next window will be crucial. Need a right back. This is Palace. Need a right back. Gallagher replacement. CDM maybe a keeper. Yeah, I assume Chelsea will keep Gallagher. But a change of manager is usually what you see when you see a change of ownership. I agreed. Let me just share my screen to support Gavin, and obviously, I know there's not that many people watching. It's this one. Make sure you go and subscribe to this channel specifically. Let me just put it so none of us are on here. All for United. Gavin was on there last week, and he's on there tomorrow night at 10 p.m. UK time. So make sure you go and subscribe to that and go and show Gavin some support in the stream at 10 p.m. UK time. I will be uploading an update video within the next hour. Well, I'm hoping it uploads within the next hour. So thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be live again next Monday, more than that. Yeah, next Monday. So thank you guys for all the support, and then we'll be live again next Tuesday. I'm like 99% sure we'll be live again next Tuesday. So thank you guys. Have a good evening, everyone, and I'll see you